I'm wondering, what is this world coming to? And in particular, what is the entertainment world coming to when I cannot drag you to see a cartoon?
What cartoon?
Elemental.
Oh, Elemental, you could not drag me to, because I saw a trailer for that, and it looked to me like I was going to get lectured at for an hour and a half straight. And I'm sorry, Hollywood, I am done with your lectures, so that's why you couldn't drag me to see it.
Well, that's too bad, because I think this might be a case of where marketing unfairly tanked a picture. I also would not want to be lectured, but that's not quite what happened in the movie.
That's interesting.
Now, what in particular were you being lectured about?
It seemed like there was some racism issues and
Anti-immigrant type
fear
stuff?
of the other.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It's too bad, because there was this anti-immigrant sub-theme running around in there, but it was so badly developed and so incidental. I mean, it did not have any effect on anything in the plot. It did not change the narrative at all. And it's too bad that they would elevate that in the trailer, because
Yeah. Because I distinctly remember that sticking out in the trailer.
it hurt two ways in the plot. One is that it was there, but the other is that, as I said, it was completely dispensable. You could have the whole movie without having any of that sub-theme. Yeah, it wouldn't have affected the story one bit. So it sounds like something that someone thought had to go in. I heard this rumor that Super Mario Brothers also had some girl power agenda in it, that the Japanese said, oh, no, you get that out of our entertaining movie. That needed to happen with this movie.
Oh.
And as for Fear of the Other, it was sort of a Romeo and Juliet movie. Like, we don't mix with those people. They're not, but here's where they stepped on themselves again. The movie starts off with this, almost scientific sort of basis. I mean, fire is different, and water is different, earth and air. I mean, you can see them in the movie, each doing their own particular earth, water, air, or fire thing. So come on, it's reasonable. Fire and water cannot make a home together. Either water is going to extinguish the fire, or the fire is going to turn the water into steam. So there's something to that.
Well, maybe they thought that was the challenge.
Someone probably did set themselves that challenge, and the trouble is, the scene where that seeming, incompatibility is resolved is just not convincing. It's interesting. It's a very powerful, tense moment. It's full of sexual electricity, but you're going, wait, that can't be happening. They're telling you that, it turns out that this whole business about fire and water not being able to make a home together is just a bunch of superstition. Well, no, it's not. So, and again, it's too bad, because that consummation right there, that moment, that was so well executed in terms of this male-female energy. If that could have run through the whole movie, okay, and that gets me onto my next problem, my next issue with the movie. The male character was all wet. The fire character was the girl, and the water character was the guy. And
okay, I see where you're going.
He was all wet. She was this fiery, complex cat, and he's this big floppy puppy that just wants to play with her.
So I haven't really looked at the character designs. Now, he is water, but I'm just curious. Would he fit, if he was a human character, would he have that same kind of lanky, slender figure with a big nose and big eyes and a little chin that we see in every single male character these days?
That is exactly what he was, and he had a pot belly to boot.
Perfect. Okay, so he fits right in. He fits right into the male character, the hero male. I'm getting tired of the weak male hero and the fiery female heroine.
It would have been a real interesting challenge to make her the water character and him the fire character. And it's too bad also, because there were a few just little genius moments of confrontation or resolution. So the moment in this movie where you're supposed to cry, it was...
I probably would have cried. I dutifully cry.
Well, I was watching the family pet die. I wasn't watching Romeo die. I wasn't watching this girl being deprived of her chance at love. A tear might have come to your eye because in my audience, I did hear some reactions to that. I heard some, oh. So...
Well, then it had the effect. It had the desired effect. That's what they wanted. Well, here's what you're making me want to see it for free when it comes out on some, streaming platform that I can watch it,
My recommendation absolutely is see it once but not twice. Because it's harmless. It's definitely family friendly. There's nothing in that movie that you would say is objectionable. Oh, I found out after I watched the movie that there's a non-binary character. Of course, it's one of the water characters, but they're all so wet. I didn't even notice.
So they snuck one in just to have their bona fides.
Something like that. Yeah, you wouldn't know that he was non-binary unless Pixar told you.
This is all good to hear. I'm glad.
Yeah, I would say it's Mario comparable in the sense that I would say see it once but not twice and take the kids. It's just that there is this problem with story and character. You told me when we went to see Spider-Verse that visually that movie was perfectly controlled. You used the word control.
Yeah.
This is a story that was not well controlled. It got away from them in too many ways. It kind of scrambled all over, and the whole plot about the town possibly being flooded was not well developed either. So basically, I was hanging in for the looks, for the little visual gags.
I'll hang in. Yeah, I will hang in for the water. I love to see how different studios handle water.
You're always talking about water. It's funny.
Yeah, if the town is going to get flooded, I would want to see that.
But the other thing I'll say is that final shot, the final shot you see is perfect.
Oh. Okay, well now I will see it.
Sadly,
Definitely.
I would say that final shot was probably designed to invite a sequel, which we will probably never see, because that takes us to the second issue that I wanted to talk about. I'm not sure why this movie tanked so badly. It had its weaknesses, but when you consider, I think critic scores and audience scores are pretty high on this, but I don't know what's happening. Is Pixar and Disney getting so toxic now that people will just not even... The default is to not go see a Pixar or Disney movie. Is that what's happening now?
That would be like humongous. That would be just a turning point. If that's the case, if they have documentation or they have, research that suggests that, then, and if they don't turn around, then they're doomed.
Yeah, in fact, I heard that the last Puss in Boots sequel was actually pretty good, but no one went to see it. And also there was some season of Mandalorian, I think season 3 or something of Mandalorian, but no one saw it.
I remember all those rave reviews about that Puss in Boots movie. I thought it did well at the box office, did it not?
I only heard of it in the context of great reviews, sadly neglected or undersung movies.
Oh.
So you told me a while ago about a Pixar story genius who passed away young. What was that?
Yes, there was a story genius up there at Pixar. His name was Joe Ranft. And he died tragically in a car crash off of the PCH. It was terrible. It was terrible because he was probably, he was just world-class story guy. And a nice guy too, super nice guy, just all around the kind of guy that you want to have around for a long time.
Oh my God.
And yeah, he died in a car that he was not driving, somebody else was driving. He was one of the greats. He was, destined for legendary story writing. I mean, he already was pretty much in his 40-something years. He was extremely well respected. So I don't know what he would have done in a story like this. I don't know what he would have done, but he was just such a story genius.
Well, this story needed a genius. I mean, it had some skilled people, but it needed a genius. It needed an editor. It needed a single nerve center. See, this is really sad because it seems to me there are a lot of talented visual people in Hollywood. Because I'll tell you, the visuals in this movie, I think you would have liked them. Now, I don't know about the character design, but the world building, that was great. Oh my God, the sets and maybe you would have said something about the style. I don't know, but it was very impressive to me. It was really entertaining and absorbing and fun. The whole world, the concepts, a lot of great little visual gags, a lot of great even jokes, little incidental jokes. And it seems to me, all the way going back to, I guess, The Incredibles, it seems to me that this is a huge, huge opening in Hollywood creativity now. Is just this fabulous world building now that people are liberated from having to find locations and build sets. Still, I would really love to hear your commentary on the appearance, on the visuals, because you always surprise me with your expertise. There are things I just don't know.
Well, generally speaking, films do look very good these days because the artists are always there to, they rise to the occasion. And it's always the story that is the most important. I mean, us visual people, we are at the mercy of the story. Totally at the mercy of the story writers.
It keeps coming back to story. It's amazing.
It always comes back to story. Always, always, always.
I'll tell you another thing. I thought the acting in this movie was great. I think this Leah Lewis who played Fire Girl, I thought she was great. And even this poor schlub of a water boy, he was also very good. I mean, he was given this part where he had to be a stupid puppy, but he was good at it anyway. And the other parts too, the other characters were good. So there's all this talent that's available to serve story, but story is the thing that is failing.
Yeah, it's such a shame because story has always been the most difficult thing to nail down. And usually what happens is that, they get the story in enough of a good place that they get into production, they start production, and they get into production 6 months, and then everything stops to fix the story because it turns out it's not correct. And then, there one little pothole after another as the schedule moves along. And at the end, you're stuck with what you have at that time. There's no time to go back and fix the story. At a certain point, you just can't go back and keep fixing the story. So the thing just releases with the best that the editors can do with it. And that's what,